What's going on with you boys?
Today is a specific day of the year that we all dread is when it's the first time you get out of your vehicle with the air conditioning running with your sunglasses on and they immediately fog up because it's actually warm enough and the humidity is ridiculous.
We're talking weather way too early here.
Oh, yeah.
Jeez. Yes, once again, as Brad snorts in his allergens one more time.
Man, it's tough times.
Welcome to Shiftless, and the allergies just are not going away this year.
Welcome to Texas, y'all.
This is the worst one I've ever run across for whatever reason, and it's, as the saying goes, knocking my dick in the dirt. I just wish that was actually a realistic possibility.
I don't know what is the active ingredient right now. I'm suspecting it's pollen with as green as everything is, and we continue to get so much rain. But the one that kills me is, besides cottonwood, is mountain cedar. Always,
The mountain cedar's bad. Cottonwood, when it kicks in, when I see that stuff floating around, it makes me sneeze, but it doesn't knock me down.
It just makes my eyes water.
Yeah. That yellow wildflower that's all over the place, I think is the one that gets me the worst. I can't remember what that one's called, but anyway. So Caleb was talking weather, so we'll let Caleb give the weather report for today.
Well, it's pleasant. It's
So descriptive.
currently in Argyle, Texas, it's 72 degrees, but today was that first dreaded day of the spring to where you get out of your vehicle with the air conditioning running and you've got your sunglasses on and they immediately fog up and you turn into Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
Trying to navigate your way around the vehicle. I don't like that day. That marks a day of depression because you know what's coming.
Speaking of Stevie Wonder, have y'all seen that documentary on Netflix, the We Are the World?
No.
I
saw the teaser.
And it was cringy. I don't want to watch it.
It's actually pretty interesting.
Huh.
And
Okay.
trust me, I am not a We Are the World fan. Was not back in the day sort of thing. But it is interesting how all of that came together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might check it out.
Have you seen the European version? Yeah, there's like a Norwegian or a German or that took place probably maybe a year or two after that maybe that they did over there, and it's awful. And they have a substitute for every person that you see in the American version.
There's like a stand-in.
No, it's like they found musicians in Europe that are influenced by
Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder,
Bob
Huey
Dylan.
Lewis.
They have all the Madonna.
And the Bob Dylan part is actually, of the documentary, is extremely interesting.
Okay.
So
Well,
it reinforces my opinion of Bob Dylan. I'll leave it at that.
And what is your opinion?
I'll let y'all watch the documentary and let me know what you think my opinion is.
From what the little that I know from it is he hated every bit of it. And he was not necessarily interested in doing it at all, but he was pressured by his record company.
They don't go into that level of detail, but it's interesting how his part worked out in the long run. But
what does any of this shit have to do with bicycles?
Not a damn thing. Not a damn thing.
I could ease us into bikes real quick. Is this some bougie-ass coffee that Adam gave you? Because it's actually really good.
This coffee was not a gift. I purchased this coffee.
With your own dineros?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's good.
It's Avoca.
Okay.
Misty Valley, which is what I...
Is it an IPA? How many times is it hopped?
Triple hopped.
Oh, my God.
Episode 58, brought to you by Avoca Coffee.
Okay. Bikes.
Okay. I'm gonna jump into this one because I'm getting old and
I like
senile.
bicycles.
And I'm gonna forget about these things, so I wanted to send myself a reminder. First off, thank you, Redshift Sports. They did hear our podcast.
Get the fuck out of here.
Here's the downside, though. It's a positive for Redshift, potential downside for you.
Oh.
They are sold out of those reservoir.
They sold out that quick.
They sold out of their first batch, but you do have...
Doesn't surprise me.
You do have one coming your way when the next batch gets in.
Yeah.
Eric's just not sure it's going to be in time for XL, though.
Well, congratulations for
Yeah, that's cool.
selling out. That thing, I know it's the algorithm. That thing keeps popping up on Instagram all the time.
Yeah, because you talked about it.
I listened, or you talked about. I mean, it doesn't take any. Anyway,
Yeah,
we know how that
sure.
works.
Yeah,
and every time I see it, I go.
I get all the BB Infinite ads now that you were getting, asshole. But anyway,
Every time I
You're
see
welcome.
that, I think, "Holy shit, that's
Big black cocks. Hey, if it's on my feed, it needs to be on your feed too.
What's that word you use? Ravioli, ratatouille.
what?
This podcast has too much ravioli. Some kind of word that has to do with derogatory sexual innuendos.
What was it?
What was that word?
Ribald.
Ribald.
So okay,
I'm a bourbon man myself.
So now Eric did offer, if you wanted a kitchen sink, he'd go ahead and send that instead. But I'm guessing you want to try the riser.
Yeah, the kitchen sink looks cool, but I when I first saw it come out, and I can see where it is. To me, the kitchen sink seems like something that's better suited for more of a backpacking situation, more of a slow roll.
I'm thinking that kitchen sink might be my tributary answer.
Yeah.
Because that thing's giving me fits. I might be getting a kitchen sink and try that out to see if that solves some of my problems with that tributary.
That makes sense, but I forgot. Remind me, does it have flare? The kitchen sink?
Not a severe flare if it
Yeah.
does. I think it has a little bit, but I'm not positive of that. But I'm not a big flare guy to begin with.
Really?
Yeah, you can have too much flare.
Once you
What?
there is a minimal amount of flare.
Yeah, well,
I think 17 degrees is kind of the minimum.
maybe,
For me.
maybe.
Well, hey, look.
I don't spend a lot of time in the drops to begin with.
I do.
I'm excited.
I live there.
If I don't get it in time for Unbound, I will be riding Unbound knowing it's coming, and not being able to wait to test it out. So
Understood.
Awesome. Thank you, Redshift.
I thought you would appreciate that.
No, totally. That's
and,
really cool.
he did make it clear that he does expect his can of soup as well.
Oh.
I'm going to send him an institutional size can of ravioli. Like one of those ones that weighs about 8 pounds.
It's called a number 10 can.
Okay. A number 10 can.
Yeah.
Yes, chef.
I mean, I'm just saying. Just make you sound smarter next time you refer to an institutional
It's going to
size can.
take more than knowing a can size to help this boy out.
All right.
The best thing is if you send him that, he'll have a very difficult time opening it. They're not fun to open with a handheld can opener.
All right. I'm not even in the air conditioning, and my glasses are fogging up. So anyway, we're probably up to 94% humidity now.
Yeah, I'm very surprised that with the humidity being 90%, that both of you digheads decided to go hatless.
Well, then I would just have a sweaty head.
Well, we're not women.
Yeah, I know.
What the fuck difference does it make? What does that mean?
All right,
Anything?
now-
It's 87.
now,
It's
I-
87%.
It was a joke.
It was a joke.
Now
Yeah,
I need to
they
roll.
can't all be good.
I need to roll over to my Brad question before I forget.
Uh-oh.
Last week you were talking about your made in the USA build.
Yeah.
Is it made in the USA or is made in America good enough by chance?
I feel like this is a trick question. Do these jeans make my ass look big?
I don't know how to answer him. I feel
All
like
right.
he's going to.
Are you familiar with Project 321 hubs?
No.
Made in Canada. And
That's not made in America.
okay. That's all right.
I mean, I guess that's a
When they say made in America, they mean Milwaukee, not Calgary.
Okay. I understand.
I feel like.
But man, these
3, 2, 1.
Project 321.
Project 321.
These hubs are right up your alley.
They are
in
sexy as hell. I'm looking at it
so
right now.
many fucking ways.
Okay, well, let me look.
First off,
Talk to me.
center lock and 6-bolt
Yeah, I'm
without an adapter. It's a unique mechanism they have. Better engagement than i9.
They've got some sexy ass colors too.
Sexy ass colors that you can like.
Not quite teal though, Brad. Not quite.
Ooh.
Not quite.
But it's not made in the USA, so I guess it doesn't suit your needs.
They're made in the Canadians.
They're made in the Canadians.
Made in
God, but they're so nice.
Canada.
Both the hubs and the people. What
And-
makes bacon Canadian?
It's a different cut.
That's
comes,
it?
Yeah.
It's ham, isn't it? What,
It's
okay, what makes
basically
Canadian
ham.
bacon different than ham? That's always been my question.
Man, it's cured, for one. That's the difference between bacon and pork belly is it's cured.
Maybe they just say sorry, when they're cutting the pig.
Sorry,
Hold still, hoser.
That's a good question. I haven't consumed a lot of Canadian bacon, but it comes from Canadian bacon, and this is just me pulling off the top of my head. Somebody's probably yelling at me, but I believe Canadian bacon is made from pork loin, whereas good old-fashioned American bacon is made from pork belly.
Let's check your facts.
Go to Canadian bacon's Wikipedia.
Canadian bacon is a type of back bacon that comes from the lean loin of a pig, is cured, smoked, sliced into rounds. It has mild, sweet pork flavor.
That's what I just said.
And is more ham-like
That's what I
than
just
types
said.
of bacon. I've been categorized as being ham-like.
That's a stretch.
Do you know? Don't look it up. Are you looking it up?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm still looking at Project 321.
Trivia. What Canadian bacon is also known as? There's a not a cliche or a term or a nickname. What's a nickname? Like bangers and mash. There's one for Canadian. It's called rashers.
Not a clue. Would have never gotten that.
Rashers.
No,
Aren't those the guys that wear wear denim jackets and listen to old school Metallica? Those are
no clue.
Oh, those are Heshers.
Heshers.
you're going off on so many tangents that I can't relate to.
Yeah.
I'm feeling old at the moment.
Where did you see all their colors for their hubs?
I heard about that aspect of it. So
Oh,
It's under the G3 hub. You just go to the list and
I
click
believe
on the
you can-
G3 front and G3 rear,
I
and they
believe
have
you
7
can,
colors.
you can customize the
engraving?
hey, wait! This says Made in Bend, Oregon. All this stuff, all the parts for the G2, all of them say Made in Bend, Oregon.
Yeah, their headquarters in Mississauga, Ontario, but they're not made in Canada.
I'm not up to speed on all the details. I think they acquired another company. So maybe there's some transition in the website there, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
I'm not. I heard them talking about it on. I believe it was Geek Warning.
These guys
Okay.
they're in it to win it. They've got an OEM section of their website.
So I need to re-listen to that episode.
They have a color called Mountain Dew.
The Stans has been using, I believe, their internals for their hubs for the past couple years, but I'm not,
Oh, really?
not
Nice.
positive. Not positive of.
They also have a color called Flat Earth.
So they've got a sense of humor to them.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
And so you can mix and match the colors.
I'm looking
so,
at you, Tyler Hancock.
I love the fact that all of the other hubs have a glossy finish, but Flat Earth has a flat finish.
I don't think hubs made in America is that hard to get to.
I understand, but your 6-bolt requirements and mixing and matching all the different things and
Yeah.
color possibilities
Yeah.
and just being sexily different at least works for me.
Yeah, I do
I
like different stuff.
I'm highly intrigued. I'll leave it at that.
I wonder what their engagement is.
It's I'm going to suggest,
288.
and they've got some sort of unique.
Well, they're running 8 Pauls.
Yeah, but it's a double 4 system is basically the way.
Yeah,
it
only
works.
4 are engaged at a
Yeah.
time, and the other 4 are disengaged. I bet that is one noisy son of a gun. Probably makes I-9 sound quiet.
Speaking of which, my 240 on the back of my Warbird is starting to feel a little loud. Would it be time already to
All you have to do is pull it apart and
Check the grease.
re-grease it. Yeah.
just start because I
What's already?
kind of making any kind of noise. For the most part, they're like I have the same hub on my Cutthroat and it's almost silent.
Yeah.
No, I get that, but you're saying already. When was the last time it was serviced? Mileage?
It's since I bought it, a year and a half.
Okay, yeah, probably about
Right about time. Yeah. Okay, I'll do that. I noticed that the other day when I was
These are some sexy,
riding bikes.
They're sexy as hell.
Yeah, they are.
sexy
They are.
hubs, man.
You could put
And the
you
price is not terrible.
You could have FAM laser engraved on the, and then you could be a write-off. The problem with these small coffee mugs is that
they go empty very quickly.
Yeah, that was a Paula thing. She was like,
But it is an old school McDonald's.
and it's milk glass.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah.
It's made
My
by
wife loves milk glass.
it's
She
made by
goes to estate
Fire
sales
King.
looking at that shit.
Yeah, these are Fire King from Anchor Hawking.
Yep.
Like, I just love the nostalgia that back in the day when you would go and get the big breakfast at McDonald's and a cup of coffee, it came on a plate and they would serve you a cup of coffee, you know? And if you were so inclined, you would return the cup to the tray area, you know?
Well, it costs too much money to do that shit now.
Oh, I know. So now they just give you the skinniest, flimsiest coffee cup in the world, and they give you
Okay,
an
Papa, let's
add-on
move
sleeve.
on. Let's. Okay, Papa, we're gonna complain about McDonald's now.
Get off my lawn.
Those jelly packets are too hard to get open.
All right, so yeah, my contribution for today was the Redshift feedback and Project 321. Y'all take over from here.
Okay. In e-bike news,
Oh God, fucking A.
our friends over at Salsa
I'm gonna go take a nap.
released their mountain bikes yesterday.
Yep.
Their mountain bikes. The Notch and the Moraine.
Is it lemon meringue?
No, Moraine.
Moraine.
I don't know where their names came from. I'm sure it's in the literature, but I have not read it.
Yeah, I don't. Okay, yeah.
I guess-
What is a moraine? That,
A moraine is any
It's a-
accumulation of unconsolidated debris, regolith and rock, sometimes referred to as glacial till.
okay. Scree.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I've been on many
And, yeah.
projects to where
So,
we try
yeah,
to name something based after something.
So the gravel bikes are
Confluence and tributary.
So they're river related, and
Yeah.
this is geography related.
Yes.
Yeah.
And notch, I guess, is just like,
Or erosion related.
mountain terms.
Yeah. Yep.
Salsa does a cool job of naming their shit and having,
Yeah.
it's just, at least it's pronounceable.
Well, but
I thought it was interesting their drivetrain choices. Of course, they're both geared towards. Well, they're calling the Moraine the all mountain, but the thing that I found interesting was that their lower end comes with the Q's 10-speed drivetrain, and their quote unquote high top end at the moment is spec'd with Dior 12. I thought that was pretty interesting because Dior is not even what I would consider.
and here's where my confusion comes in as not up to speed on modern mountain biking.
Mm-hmm. You're supposed to pedal them.
Can we talk about that guy real quick, or come back to that guy?
Who?
The feral e-biker we picked up that night
Oh.
with no cranks, without pedaling.
Absolutely.
Side note:
Yeah.
Okay.
couple of TNBGs ago, we were coming back from East Side, and we took because of the mud, and it was like we rode no gravel, no trail, anything. That was after that 2.5 inches of rain, so it was pavement to pavement pretty much. We took gravel bomb on that. Anyway, we came home the same way we go out. Typically, we keep going around.
Get it?
We're coming through, and spirits were high. Devin Mooney was with us. We were having a great time. And we go through around Welch Street, around UNT, and some guy comes out, and I think he's either eating a chicken leg or an ice cream cone.
No, he was eating sushi.
I was eating sushi.
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't really tell. It was dark.
Found sushi in the wild, huh?
So he's like, hey, are you guys the
Tuesday
Tuesday Night Ride? And of course, Brad, of all people, goes, yeah, hop on. That wasn't you?
No.
Who was that?
Mr. Adam Phillips
Oh,
said, yeah,
Yeah.
it's Tuesday and we're riding.
But he doesn't realize which
Right.
ride that he's talking about. So this guy hops on, or he gets on, and he's on more of a commuter style e-bike that has large tires.
Large tires.
It's like a fat tire.
Sure.
Street
and so
tire.
Yeah.
he follows us all the way to the stadium, and we're on top of the stadium enjoying the sunset. Mm-hmm. Wink, wink.
A safe sunset.
And this guy starts, I don't know if you've seen how tall that hill is. It's steep, and he is just trying his best to show off and launch this e-bike.
That weighs like 70 pounds.
Dude, it is a brick concrete cinder block. So we start making our way around, and then we notice he's not even pedaling.
He has no chain on this thing. It's throttle only.
And we keep trying to tell him, dude, we are not going back to Denton. We're headed. He goes, where are you guys going? And I said, we're going to Argyle. And he goes, where's that?
Yeah.
So the other thing is
when we're on Bonnie Bray, when he just kept going in and out of the ditch where the grass was like 12 inches tall.
At night, no visuals whatsoever. He has no lights.
Yeah.
He is absolutely just ripping through, not in a good way, in a way that we're going to have to call an ambulance for either him or us.
Right.
In and out of traffic, just completely blowing stop signs. And I'm thinking, this guy is, someone's going to die.
Yeah,
Someone's going to die.
And so I kept thinking, what are we going to do with this guy when we show back up at my garage and he's just like hanging out with us?
He's going to sleep on your couch.
How are we going to get rid of him? So finally, I think it was Shank said, hey, by the way, we're not going back to Denton. And I think it finally clicked. And he's like, oh, okay. And he just peeled off. And I was like,
crisis avoided.
Thank you, Shanks.
You didn't give him a shiftless sticker, did you?
No.
Okay. All right.
Speaking of which, I have no more shiftless stickers.
Okay.
Yeah, and I want to take them to Unbound. Do we need to pull some money together?
Good grief.
Do we need to pull some?
We'll figure it out.
I've got pocket money.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
We'll
I can
figure it
throw
out.
some in there.
All right.
I got tips
Let's
this
go.
weekend.
Let's go back to my burning question.
How much money do we
I
need
don't know.
for
I
stickers?
don't know.
This is what it took last time. Here's $40.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
We'll make
I'll
that
match
work.
it.
We'll make that work.
Make some stickers.
All right.
I don't carry paper. Money of paper.
Just anyway. Back to my burning question on these salsa mountain bikes.
What is your burning question?
E-mountain bikes. Okay,
Mhm.
Again, and I'm very confused about how modern mountain bikes are supposed to work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still a fan of the hardtail and the single speed.
Mm-hmm.
So the two $6,000 Salsa e-mountain bikes,
Mm-hmm.
one is labeled as all mountain, the other is labeled as enduro-ish.
Is it the...
Look at that. They also now have added an e-bike tab to their.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
when you know they've jumped the shark.
So the all mountain version, it's like 160, 140. The other's 170, 160, something like that.
You've done more homework than I have.
The enduro version has the Bosch motor with the big torque, and the
Mhm.
other one has some John Favreau motor or something like that.
John Favreau.
I don't know, Favor or something like that. I don't know what motor it is. I'm not knocking it. I just wasn't familiar with it. It doesn't say Shimano. It doesn't say Bosch.
Oh, back to what we were talking about. Notch refers to the geographic indentation between two mountains.
Oh.
I've always called that a saddle, but whatever.
I think there's a difference.
There probably is. I live in Texas.
We live in Texas,
Yeah.
so we're flatlanders.
Yeah,
But
85 Fig Newton meters of torque on the.
Why would I
on the
spend
Notch.
$6,000 for 60 Fig Newtons of torque versus 6,000 for 85 Fig Newtons? I don't.
What's the wattage of the battery
And there's more battery hours in the
in the Notch?
I don't understand any of that stuff.
Yeah. Why are we talking about this?
No, I'm just trying to understand.
No.
From a marketing perspective, why it seems like
I'm
these bikes
sure-
are too similar in price and too similar in capability.
Well, maybe, and I'm just guessing. I mean,
Please,
I'm still an idiot too.
I'm an idiot. I'm
But
flummoxed. I'm
maybe
not,
the 60 Newton meter torque has more range because it's not using all the Fig Newtons.
Maybe I don't think so because it's got less battery.
Oh, see, I literally just looked at
No,
this
I,
right
understand,
before
I
we
understand,
went.
and I'm
trying
just
to do a side by side.
Right before we went hot.
and I think technically speaking, the one is a lighter bike. But again, once you start throwing e-bike into the mix and more torque,
Yeah.
what difference does a 10-pound lighter bike make, or even a 15-pound lighter?
So you're right. It's 140, 160, and what is the Notch?
It's 160. Oh no, I'm sorry. The Notch is 170, 160, I think.
Huh.
They do have a difference in, and I don't know what this is called. The difference in the rear shock setup.
Yeah.
Like one is the
Yeah.
like the cantilever, and then one is the one
have-
underneath the top two.
They have different pivots.
pivot points. I don't know what the difference in setup is.
I get. Again,
Yeah, 170, 160. That's a big bike.
it is a big bike, but again,
If I was going to just,
if I'm going to spend $6,000,
I want all the travel.
why wouldn't I just get
Yeah.
that one?
Yeah.
Is what I'm getting at.
Same thing. I'm with you there. And I don't know. I'm not smart enough to even answer that question. But if I was going to pick one of these 4 bikes, it would be this Notch.
I would either do
high-end Notch.
Yeah, I would either do the high end Notch, or I would do the low end Moraine with the Qs.
Yeah.
And again, on the assumption it's significantly lighter, and if it's lighter on my wallet too, maybe. But we're back to all right.
It's interesting that they have a RockShox up front, and then they have a Fox.
Yeah,
out back.
I saw that too. And there's another big difference though. So the Notch has the 38 millimeter stanchions, and the Moraine has the 35 millimeter stanchions. So it's like, if I'm spending the same money, give me the extra stanchion, because if I'm going to drop that big old motor off the big old truck.
Yeah. I need more cushion for the pushing.
I hear you.
On bike cargo.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a difference in the Notch. The Notch looks like it has a spot for, I guess, cargo underneath the down tube, maybe.
And the Moraine has, I like that aspect. They have the little gear strap that penetrates through the tube. So you can actually run like a gear strap around that tube or through the tube.
Okay.
More.
Okay. I hear you.
I think the Moraine has in-bike storage as well.
What is the difference between a silo and a domain?
35 millimeter versus 38 millimeter.
Well, this is 10.
I'm sorry?
The RockShox Silo Gold RC is 160, and the RockShox Domain Gold RC is 170. So that's 10.
But
Is that what you mean? Is
no,
the only difference?
The stanchion.
Oh, got it. Roger that. Yep. I see what you mean.
So both of them can be set up at anything from 150 to 180.
What does a proper e-mountain bike start out at, 34 or 36?
34 is more cross country. Well, I mean, 32 is like super cross country. I don't even know if
they do.
They do still
I
make
was
them.
looking at Fox the other day, and they still make them.
Yeah. That's.
But they're going to edge
is
that out.
the brand new Fox that just came out? No. That's
one of the new. Yeah, I think so.
The brand new Fox with the reverse arch.
Yes.
Okay.
They haven't.
They're
They're
a 32.
Yep. They're. Let me double check here, but
all those
believe
hack-ass mechanics that just learned to put the arch on the front are going to be fucked up for another couple of years. Have you seen all the pictures of the 951s at Costco?
At Costco.
Yeah, they're calling it the ultralight because they have gravel, ultralight, lightweight, trail, all mountain, enduro, downhill, and then e-bike, all mountain.
Cane Creek just
Yeah, it
came
is.
out
I'm
with
looking
a
at it backwards.
inverted gravel.
Yeah, that Cane Creek.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Cane Creek is claiming to be the first gravel fork, but Fox literally has one right here that says gravel.
Why would you even espouse something like that? That's so stupid. Like, why do you?
That was a really bad. Well, I mean, and Loft has entered the chat. I mean,
yeah.
Well, I mean, let's put a little stop on the little time machine here and go back to Paris-Roubaix. Like, I don't even know, like 95, when they did the RockShox had a gravel fork for the pave section.
That's before my time, so I'm not dialed into that one.
Well, RockShox put out an
elastomer fork?
I'm sure it was all elastomer based back then.
Well, I'm just double checking.
Yeah. The Judy, when the Judy was around, that would have been like 94, 95, maybe before that. Let me look.
Now, that said, despite Cane Creek's claim, and was that Cane Creek's claim, or did somebody else just like throw that in the mix?
No, they said it.
Cane Creek said that. Okay.
Yeah.
I think
Invert is the world's first gravel fork. It literally says it on the product page.
Okay. That's Cane Creek. That's stupid. But anyway,
they don't even show. The other thing is, they don't even list what the max tire size is on this. So that's a neg. Oh wait, here it is.
1993.
Keep scrolling, dickhead.
The Cane Creek gravel fork, inverted fork, does look very interesting.
Oh yeah,
not
disputing that.
I think it is going the right direction. I think the price point's off base for what it is.
Still doesn't show tire size.
What is it?
It's like it's $1,000 for the one that you can't lock out, and $1,100.
And there's a difference in travel too. The non-lockout,
right.
the
That's
non-lockout is 30, and the lockout. So invert SL, which is no climb switch,
Yeah.
30 millimeter travel, $1,100. Invert CS climb switch, 40, and then you've got, but it doesn't list max tire size. We know for a fact that
It looks big. It looks like it can take a lot.
But
But here's the question. I have a even dumber question than all these other questions.
Oh, that's a stretch, but go for it.
Okay.
Has Cane Creek's not been in the suspension game for quite some time, have they?
Well,
they dipped out, didn't they?
The Thudbuster and all that sort of
That's
stuff.
just an elastomer seat post. But they made, at one point, they had rear suspension cartridges that they were trying to compete with Fox, and they also had forks as well. And I think they dipped out of that game a decade plus ago.
Well, you got to admit, a decade plus ago, it was impossible to compete with RockShox and Fox.
Yeah. I think it still is.
Fox has got a better price point too.
There's been a lot of shock companies come and go since then.
What's the Fox price on their ground? I think what Cane Creek brings to the equation though is lighter weight, significantly lighter.
Yeah, what is the weight?
Okay, for the SL no climb switch is $990, and the invert with the climb switch 40 millimeters is $1113. Hey, what's the difference real quick between Grip SL and Fit 4 on Fox?
No idea.
Okay,
Probably the coating.
Fox has more travel. You can get up to 50.
I think it's at least a half pound heavier.
Is it really? Let's look at weight.
Yeah, this literally says weight. This is a quarter to a half pound lighter than the competition. Talking about Cane Creek's
weight starting at 1161. So yeah, it's going to be heavier. But I mean
990 is barely over 2 pounds. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and that's what they're going for.
Yeah.
Is the weight aspect.
But if you're not going to have a lockout, why wouldn't you just run a loft? I mean, I guess it has adjustability.
I mean, it is an air spring, so I mean you
can't adjust it.
You can beef it up some.
Yeah.
On the pressure, I would assume.
You're looking at a $250 difference too.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It's
cool looking.
Well, and I can't argue with Cane Creek here. They make a point that of the people they interviewed for what would make for a good gravel fork, aesthetics was a huge part of it.
And that is one sexy
It's
bit.
a sexy looking
it looks
fork.
Good. It looks good.
It's a sexy looking suspension fork.
They have it on that stigmata, and it works.
Yeah, I think we're about to start seeing a lot more gravel suspension.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. And I was thinking about it on the drive over. You know, there's people that throw, gravel bikes are nothing but 90s mountain bikes or whatever. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily disagree with it. And I can definitely see, well, like, for example, I've been talking about, I was frustrated because I couldn't find a hardtail mountain bike for an e-bike. Mm-hmm. Now that I think about it, that Tributary might do just perfectly fine as my hardtail mountain bike.
Yeah.
With the pedal assist, even though I'm not the best drop bar mountain biker there is, just with that pedal assist in the mix, it's just gonna let you easily roll over that much more.
I watched a video the other day on YouTube, and it was a guy testing, and I can't even remember what fork it was now, but he was basically saying he was putting it on a Canyon. I can't remember what fork it was now, but it was a
Canyons come with a suspension fork though.
But this was a gravel bike, a gravel bike.
Yeah, they're doing it right now.
Well, he was converting it, so I think it was an older stock Canyon. And he was talking about the pros and cons, and he went on a ride. He did like a 50-mile ride. He went through trail and all kinds of slop and everything. And I just couldn't help but think, there is a certain facet of riders that are starting to embrace the underbike aspect. Mm-hmm. And as people start to push the boundaries of their gravel bike, they're going to see more and more benefit of a suspension fork, especially when you're taking it in, off-road conditions versus just straight gravel. But then just ground and pound gravel, I think a suspension fork is going to make you probably a little bit better anyway.
If I had it within my budget, I probably would put a suspension fork on my cutthroat. I've been such a fan of underbiking for so long. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't do the underbiking if it was easy. I like going out and getting beat up on the west side of North Shore on my cutthroat. I mean, it's hard to do.
Yeah.
And I can't ride the whole thing. I have to, like, I dab and I get off. And but when I get better, you become a better bike handler. Mm-hmm. At some point, though, but going on a, 6+ hour gravel ride, might be cool.
It'd be pretty Cadillac.
But then it's like, how underbiked are you if you're just making your bike easier to ride in those conditions?
Right.
Are you, if I put a suspension fork on that cutthroat and go out and ride mountain bike trails,
well,
I'm no longer technically underbiking as much as I previously was.
As much as you previously were, but compared to the current mountain bike market, you're still way underbike because everybody's out there on their 170 millimeter e-bikes anyway.
Yeah. I pass people on the west side wearing full face helmets, knee pads, elbow pads. I'm not bragging. I'm not fast. I'm just dumb.
But the only correct response when you pass somebody like that is you say, "Nice bike," as you pass them on your freaking cutthroat.
I did tell a guy one time, "I wish I could see you smile, but I can't," because he had a full face helmet.
I like that.
But think about how fun it would be to put a suspension fork on there and go out and just rail knob hills.
That's the thing.
That's my question.
There's no denying. I would.
Yeah.
That would be
what fork would be your ideal cutthroat fork?
Oh, I would probably put the Fox 32 on there. The XC.
The new one?
Yeah, the inverted XC. I think if I do the 32 ultralight XC,
I haven't even looked at Fox's new releases.
I think 34 would be overkill for that bike. I mean, it just, I don't know. I think the 32 would be right on. I couldn't put the gravel on there because the gravel will only allow up to 50 millimeter, and I want to be able to do proper 2.25s at least. So that ultralight probably would work. It's probably the only thing that on the market that would be considered underbiked monster cross friendly. That's not proper massive downhill type.
That's 100 millimeters on that travel on that fork, right?
On which one?
The new Fox reverse arch one.
Yes, I'm looking.
I don't know. I'm trying to get to their site.
Yeah, it's 100.
What is it? What's their site?
Ride Fox.
Oh, Ride Fox. I was looking at Fox Racing.
What's the price point on this, the new one?
I'm a Fox fan.
I can't remember who sent it to me, but it was Sean, and we got to talk about him later.
Yes.
But he sent me the special edition one that's gold, and he goes, "This would look good on your Chumba." I thought he's not wrong.
I would say hold off on new Fox purchases until that reverse arch makes it into the 34s, 36s, and so forth as well.
It is.
No, it's only in the 32 so far.
Oh,
you're right. Oh, and that's a step cast. The ultralight XC 32 is a step cast.
But the prevailing thought is that about this time next year, Fox will be
fully converted.
Be converting to the other ones, and I mean, there's
what's the benefit?
Weight.
Weight in the back behind it. That
weight savings.
It says it gains 40% stiffness over its predecessors.
Higher stiffness, less weight.
Huh.
But this isn't new.
No, it was.
They were doing this in 2015, 16.
It was
not the reverse arch, not Fox.
It was
not Fox.
It was someone.
Marzocchi.
Okay.
Menorah, I think.
Hold up, we're both right there. Manitou.
That's it. It started with an M.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was having a brain aneurysm for a hot second.
Yeah. So it was. I'm guessing their patent expired, and that would be about right. 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So
have you seen how
latticed
far back that thing comes back?
Yeah.
It almost looks like it has a heat sink in it to disperse heat.
That looks like some stiffness to me, but
it looks
rigid.
Well, guys, look how stiff this is.
I'm going to take y'all back to way before all of this stuff existed.
Okay.
And I used to run Magura hydraulic rim brakes. So it was all a hydraulic system, and the pads engaged via hydraulic. And we used to run an aftermarket arch that went between your cantilever bosses to stiffen up your fork. And to keep the brakes from, they would literally push your rims and spread your fork. because they were so powerful.
Oh
You
yeah,
could-
sure.
You
I remember
could
that.
you could collapse your rim if you ran a shitty rim because they were that freaking strong. I don't know where I was going.
Thanks
with
for
that.
adding that in.
Sorry, edit that shit out. I don't care. McAfee. Let's get back to McAfee.
That
I
guy,
definitely want to talk about this.
And did you see his riding buddy
I watched
did a video
that
too?
video.
I haven't watched all of it.
It's very good.
So okay, you mean tee this up?
Yeah, go for it.
But I mean, you're one of the granddaddies of this. So Wood Ape Ramble, which is our unsanctioned
Route.
mountain bikepacking route that is counterclockwise circumnavigates Broken Bow Lake in
Epic route.
epic
It
hard.
It is way harder than the brochure.
Yes, and not all of it is even a trail. There
Yeah.
is a couple of sections that will take you multiple hours, half the fingers on your hand of hours,
Yeah.
to push your bike up and over to power easement
Yeah.
ridges with
Yeah.
no trail that you hope to go in a time before the spring growth starts. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you are fucked.
Yeah.
Anyway, Brad, Shannon, and
McAfee.
McAfee had gone out a couple of times. My fly's unzipped. Had gone out and kind of proofed it and tested it and didn't quite make it all the way through. And then our first big foray, we all made it through.
Yeah.
Rode about half a day on Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. Went back, did it again. And then Sean's big quest was to do it in a day.
Yeah.
So
And
here's the challenges. There's 0 stops. There might be
there's
if
one
you-
one in Bethel if you
it's
make it there in
open.
time.
If you make it there in time,
Yeah.
which it's very difficult to do because it's a Sunday and it's a small town and they probably close
Yeah.
by 2 or 3,
Yeah.
which looks like they did. Anyway, he tried it last year, him and Donahue, and the weather was awful. They were going across some creek crossings that were waist high, fast water.
And then when they got to the low water crossing,
Yeah.
it was impassable.
Yeah, it was totally impossible. And
Yeah.
and that is 50, 60 yards? Is it 100 yards?
No, it's longer than that. Buddy.
Is it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a 4 or 5 steps across moving fast water. It's
pedal strokes.
it's
yeah.
die.
Yeah.
You go and
Yeah.
you're in the river. Anyway, they got really close.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, mileage wise, they almost got the right mileage, but it was because they weren't able to complete it because they had too many reroutes. Anyway,
what is the mileage of the loop?
It's like-
one-
I think they got like 112,
Yeah,
114.
at a
something like
120.
that. Yeah.
yeah,
something like that.
So they were
The proper loop is
120-ish.
120.
Yeah.
Let's
something
call
like
it
that.
something. Yeah,
Okay, all right.
17,000 feet of climbing.
No, 13.
13?
13-ish, yeah.
Yeah,
So it's about 100 feet per
filtering
mile.
your water,
Yeah.
bringing all your food.
Yeah.
There's plenty of water filter spots. There's tons.
There's plenty
So
of
anyway,
places.
he you know,
Make sure you filter
Sean
there.
Sean has that healthy stubbornness to go out
Mhm.
and do hard things, and he recruited a friend, which I don't know this guy.
Me neither.
I don't think he's from around here. We need to.
Jacob.
Okay.
He
Seems like a good guy.
Jacob Strong.
Yeah.
He was the only one to finish our first Hell on Wheels
Okay.
at North Shore back in the day. That was that 120 degree day. It was 24 hours. I can't remember. I think it was 100 miles of North Shore. Is what we're doing.
That's a victory for Kevin, right? When you only have one finisher.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. You know what?
Hell yeah.
Interestingly enough, that's the mantra behind the Barkley Marathon, right? And
Right.
then this cat, his video that he just put out was entitled "The Barkley Marathon of Mountain Biking."
Now there you go.
So,
I'll drop the Kevin. I'll send you all the links for both
did
videos.
Did you watch the video short that McAfee sent to our group about inline filtration?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't talk about that. I've had so hold on. There's 2 different videos. There's Sean's videos, and then what's the other guy's
Jacob.
name?
Relax.
Jacob's.
Relax.
I am relaxed.
You're too excited.
I'm so
You
excited
need-
to be.
you need a
I've missed
gummy.
2 weeks.
You need a
I've missed
gummy.
2 weeks. I wish. I got to go to work after this. Yeah. So we'll post the links.
Inline
He's
filtration.
been doing that inline filtration
Yeah.
for a while, and
Yeah.
knowing how the water flow is not very fast.
Is
on
it
pulling
not?
it through? Well, any filtration
Yeah.
system that you use, whether you're squeezing or pumping or whatever, the
That was
flow is
my
not
curiosity.
that great. I am skeptical. He says it's not that big of a deal
Yeah.
to pull the water through the filter.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So basically-
bring me up to speed.
so what he's doing is-
what do you meaning by inline
He's
filtration?
filling his entire hydration, his backpack bladder,
Okay.
filling it with creek water.
Right.
Hose has a segment in it. First segment is the hose to an inline filter.
And what inline filter is he using?
Sawyer.
Sawyer.
Sawyer Mini?
Yep.
I don't know if it's
Probably. I don't. I
I
think that's the only way that you can.
I think that's the inline, right?
Yeah.
You're
And then
probably right.
directly to the mouthpiece.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
if it works, that's great. I'm a little skeptical
Oh, shit,
on
sorry.
the flow. It seems like it would be a lot of work to
Yeah.
pull that water through that flow.
Yeah, I don't want my
when you're
flow
tired.
restricted like that. Like
Yeah.
if I need a mouthful of water, I need it like now.
Yeah.
Not,
Well,
I don't need to work for it.
Maybe Sean's experienced at sucking.
He may have very strong internal mouthful vacuum system. But hey, if obviously it works for him because the son of a bitch did it.
Yeah.
And
So they went out to set the FKT for this route. That was the intention of the first run that him and Donohue
Well, I
attempted.
mean, they made it in their one day.
Yeah, 14,
So they
14
made-
hours and 3 minutes.
which just sounds insane.
Yeah.
But they're not carrying camping equipment like they did. They didn't have their hammocks and their tents and all that.
Yeah.
He wasn't carrying a a boxed wine like Carl did.
Yeah, nor a proper folding chair. Were you there?
Or a 5-pound plate in his backpack.
Yeah. Oh, the first year, I think it was when Shannon and I went with him to proof it when we camped the first night. This motherfucker pulls out a chair that's this tall. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah,
like it is
I've
a
seen it.
full
Yeah.
size chair.
That was his luxury item.
Yes, but it wasn't. This is not a camp chair. This is something you watch soccer games in. It was.
Hand out juice boxes.
I was like, holy shit, where did that come from, McAfee? But also, his bike looked like he was homeless. He had so much
Yeah.
shit strapped to it.
Do you know the weight plate story? Have we told this story?
You guys alluded to it.
It's so fun.
All right.
We-
2 or 3 days, maybe a week, I don't know, before we do Wood Ape Ramble 1.
It was for sure a week before.
1 meaning it's actually if you count
the first group attempt?
proper, first group attempt. We have a show and tell shakedown meetup here
Bikepacking clinic
at Casa Verde, and we're going through all our stuff, and Sean's backpack is sitting over to the side. His water backpack, as Horners would say, it's sitting over the side, and it's fully packed. And we're standing there messing around, and there might have been beer involved. And then I look over, and Brad's kids' old school
Dumbbell.
curling dumbbell plates were sitting around,
Yeah.
and I took a 5.
5-pound weight and put it in his
I
backpack.
put it in his backpack.
And then he proceeded to goat Sean like, "You're really going to carry this? This is heavy." And Sean he's feeling good. He
Yeah.
puts it on. He's like, "Oh my god!"
No, but he didn't know. He didn't do
No,
it
he
to,
didn't. He
to the
didn't.
next day.
No, he
didn't
did. He put it on that night.
Right, but he didn't know it was.
No,
in
I
there.
know.
Okay,
I know.
okay.
He didn't know it till days after.
Yeah.
It wasn't even the next day.
Now, in full disclosure, had he shown up, had he not mentioned that weight, and he showed up into Hutch Town, and he put it on, I
You
was
would have
going
let him
to
ride with it.
No.
Yeah, you would
Oh,
have.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
I
you
would
would
not
have.
have. You
we
have
would have
to.
all been mad at
You
you.
would have been mad at me for not leaving it in,
bullshit.
but I would have gone to it and unzipped it, and I would have
No.
showed it to him.
You should have done
You're
that.
no longer my friend,
You
Caleb.
should have done that the first night we were camping. By the way, McAfee.
What the fuck is this weight plate doing? You trying to out climb us and is this a workout?
When I pulled out my 16-ounce ribeye and Carl pulls out his box of wine, you produced the 5-pound weight from
Okay, show off.
All right. I am not going to diminish their accomplishment, so I don't want it to come across that way.
Okay.
Oh, God, I love a good...
But to make this the Barkley Marathon of mountain bike events, they need to do it twice.
Yeah.
14
Sure.
hours is not Barkley Marathon.
no, that's true.
I
So
will
they need
say,
to go one way and then back the other.
There are constant. I wouldn't say constant, but there are road washouts, and there are sections that technically, yes, he has it. He has the route on his Garmin now because it's established, but there is no road.
Yeah.
If you go out there thinking you're going to just find your way,
I guarantee you,
you
there's-
are not
there's-
going to find your way.
There's parts that they're
Yep.
trespassing, so
Hey.
keep that route under
I don't know if that's entirely true. But the other aspect of it is McAfee hit a road barrier
Well,
at like 20 miles an
yeah,
hour.
I haven't seen that on the video
Because
yet.
they
I
have
want to see
the-
that.
I did see. He released that one as a snippet. I saw
yeah,
that.
because they have because it's all national forest.
Since it is national forest, they're having to do stuff that technically is less than approved. So
How so?
Generally speaking, national forest, you can only ride bicycles on roadways. Generally speaking.
Well, we were.
How I'm not aware of that.
Understood.
I mean,
And again, I'm talking in generalities there.
yeah.
There's possibly some blurred lines of legality on this route anyway.
I think making a black and white line of legal
Yeah.
and unapproved. I think those are two different terms.
let's say
This is all national forest, and it's dispersed camping, and
Understood.
so you're saying it's okay for you to hike these roads for miles and miles and miles, but you can't bike these roads for miles and miles and miles.
Roads you can, trails and off-roadway.
Oh,
okay.
you said roadways
Yeah.
at first.
No,
I
That's
said
why
I
you
you
have-
understand what he means.
I say you have to be on roads on a bicycle.
I'd like to rewind this. That is not what you said. That's why I was so confused.
I'm sorry. I may have.
Based on some of the stuff that we saw out there, there's way more illegalities going on than people riding
Agreed.
bikes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a huge deal by any stretch of the imagination.
We were off by a half a mile on where we were camping, and we were. I mean,
On
we
private
all,
property.
I had an app. So my eTrex and the specifically the Garmin Edge. Garmin Edge doesn't show boundary lines on public land versus private land. Like sometimes it does, but it's more like neighborhoods, like established stuff.
Yeah.
And we were off by about a half a mile on what was national forestry and was actually private land. It was a hunting lease, but there was no gate.
Yeah.
We just
Sure,
pulled off
sure,
into a road
sure.
and kind of went up this little hill, and it was nighttime, and we were camping, and this guy pulls up in a truck, and he knew what he was doing because he never walked in front of his headlights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he was like, "Hey, do you guys know this is private property?" Nobody was a dick. Everybody was cordial and said, "We did not. We're sorry. We're passing through. We're bike packing. You will not even know that we're here." And then he goes, "Okay, if you guys need anything, the house is down the hill. You know, but otherwise, just pick up after yourself."
Yeah, it was a spooky situation
Yeah.
for there at the very beginning, but it turned out to be a really good interaction.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, that's how those interactions go.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the beauty of that area too. Is everybody that we bumped into was like super nice. Like the guys at the low water crossing,
Yeah, with the beer.
gave us all cold beer.
Yeah.
Like, probably emptied their ice chest to give
Yeah.
nine of us beers.
And we're generally curious as what we were doing. They weren't
yeah,
ignoring us. They were asking,
yeah. Like,
"What do you got? What the hell are you guys doing?"
Yeah, how far did y'all go? Where you
Yeah.
been? Where?
Yeah.
You know, that's the cool part about meeting people that have no clue what you're doing when you're on a trip like that. Is they're genuinely inquisitive. Genuinely. Inquisitive. I mean, when Thornton and I did my first bike packing long adventure, when we rode from South Dallas all the way down to Whitney and back, we stopped in, I want to say it was Italy, Texas, or somewhere. Italy. We were like 80 miles or 90 miles in. I can't even remember where we were. And there was a group of motorcyclists there, and they were out on their long ride. And so they started, this is like right when hydraulic disc brakes and stuff started appearing on mountain bikes, and we were both on mountain bikes. And they were like, "Man, you guys have disc brakes on your bike, and you guys have bags," and they were inquisitive.
Yeah.
And the funny thing was, they were asking, "Well, how far are you guys riding today?" And at that point, we were still thinking we were going to clip off 200 miles. And they were like, "Holy shit!" We're like, "What? You guys have the motors? How far are y'all riding today?" They're like, "Maybe 75."
Yeah.
It was pretty
Yep.
funny.
And then don't drink creek beers.
No, don't drink creek beers.
That was top 5
Sicknesses.
worst I've ever felt in my life.
How long did that last?
You gonna eat all
A
that?
day and a half. McAfee, being the sweetheart that he is, drove up. And this is probably goes against the rules of a self-supported bikepacking adventure. But this guy went out and buried a suitcase of Coors Banquet at our second.
Well, Proctor was with him.
When they
That
did
was
it.
when they went to scout. They were looking at the route to proof it. I can't remember. I think it was because they had rains. I can't remember why they went to proof. They went to proof a couple of sections.
Yeah.
And I think they were just looking for camping spots as well.
Oh, that's right.
And when they found our second night camp spot, that's when they buried the 30 pack. I don't know that they buried it as much as they just
Leafed it.
hid it.
Yeah.
But we've told you that story. We get to camp, put it in the creek, proceed to drink creek beers, and
and just the creek water that was on the lip was enough to get.
It's the only thing we can think of.
How many people sick?
Every 12 out of 13.
Okay.
Yeah.
In some form, different
No, I get that.
different
I get
variations.
that.
Hoyt was the only one that didn't get sick. Is that right?
I think so.
I think there was one or two people that didn't get sick.
I think so. I ended up sleeping in a ditch on, was it 259? The highway that runs through there.
That sounds right. Yeah,
I bailed out. There was about 25, 35 miles, I think, maybe 40 miles left. And I made my way to 259 or 271, whatever the highway is. I don't know. And I was grabbing those corrugated plastic construction and contractor signs and laying them in the ditch on the highway and trying to sleep it off. It ended up being about 12 miles to get back to town, and it took me about 4 hours, 3.5 hours to make it down. I ended up hitchhiking. It was the first time I ever hitchhiked in my life. I was at that point. I called my wife and I said, "Look, I'm so sick. I'm getting ready to hitchhike. I'm just letting you know in case these people steal my skin."
And something.
Hey, speaking of which, did you listen to that podcast you sent me, Andrew Callahan?
Yeah, I'm about 15 minutes left in it.
He's so good. He does a long talk about hitchhiking. In current times and stuff. Very interesting.
Let's talk about this new Kona bike.
I'm looking at it right now.
That was that would have been a good segue to the underbike thing.
Ouroboros?
Kona
Ouroboros, which is the snake eating itself.
Oh, is that what it is?
It's a symbol of an Egyptian symbol of rebirth, like the origination of it.
Or it's kind of an infinity symbol, right?
Or a Mobius.
That's a fucking cool bike, and I'm really excited about it.
I was caught off guard by it.
But they're doing a better job of marketing the same thing that a Cutthroat can do, except Cutthroats don't come with a suspension fork.
Here were my downsides to the Ouroboros, though, that caught me initially.
Mm-hmm.
I am not a press fit bottom bracket fan. I don't know why
That's a Cutthroat.
I don't know why any bike made in 2024 would have a press fit bottom bracket, but that's just me.
I don't know that you're going to say anything else in this podcast that I could agree with more.
And B, with that suspension fork, limiting the tire size on that bike to 2.1 is stupid.
Say it again. Say that again. I was reading the stats.
The suspension fork version, which is also the transmission version.
Yeah.
Biggest tire you can take on is a 2.1. With the carbon fork, you can do a 2.5.
Oh, yeah. Then that's really weird.
Kona hit so many right points with this bike.
Yeah.
And then press fit bottom bracket and 2.1 limitation. It's like, oh, come on, guys.
It's probably, is it that particular? Because they're going to go, since it's a SRAM build, they're going to go with
that
the
fork.
That's the fork that they're putting on there that is limiting. Which, but don't. So does surely RockShox makes a fork that would have fit that could take larger.
What's the tire clearance on that 32 step cast we were just looking at? I didn't even
50.
That's 32
for the gravel specific is 50.
No.
Oh, the 32.
The 32 step cast, yeah.
Oh,
probably a 2.4, huh?
Yeah, sure.
Maybe
I'm looking right now.
It's 2.1 or 2.2. Maybe that would be.
I doubt it. It's a cross country fork.
You wouldn't think, but
I
am interested now. Max tire size, new.
I do like this, but I'm totally in agreement with you on the. Well, and that's the other thing. This is a 40 millimeter fork, but press fit would kill the deal for me. Like if I was looking to buy this off the shelf, I'd be like, even if it came with a shitty.
That was me. I accidentally bumped it with my finger. Sorry.
Even if it came with a shitty bottom bracket, you could always just change it out.
Right.
But it comes with a shitty format of bottom bracket. There's no circumnavigating that.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you. My first glance at it was, oh, hey, it's Kona being Kona.
Yeah.
It's like, they got some really good basic ideas here, but looking at it, oh, this is heavy as shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, wait a minute, that's carbon.
Yeah.
So I think what I saw, the 50 millimeter frame, which is obviously a small, or an extra, maybe even an extra small, 23.5 pounds. Not terrible, quite frankly, with that much drop bar goodness on it.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. No, I mean, not gravel race bike weight by any stretch, but by monster cross bike standards, not bad. What's your Cutthroat weigh in at, Caleb? Do you know?
That thing's light.
Yeah, it's light.
Which is, what's light?
23, 24.
Okay. Without a suspension fork.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It definitely didn't come that light.
I get that. No, I get that. This is off the shelf, 23.5 pounds for a small.
Yeah.
With a suspension fork.
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
It's not bad at all.
I'm looking for that max tire size. They don't even list it on their site. I'm going through through the PDF of the.
What's interesting, they offer this with the TC32, which is the Fox 40 millimeter, and they also offer it obviously with a rigid fork, their carbon fork, and then they have it with the RockShox Rudy Ultimate XPLR Charger Race Day, longest name in the world. It's a sexy bike.
It's a pretty cool bike. I think kind of going back to what we were talking about a little bit earlier, I think there's a high likelihood
that we're going to start seeing a lot
that
more
drop
bikes like
bar
this.
monster cross bikes like that are the new hardtail. Quite
Yeah.
frankly, I
Yeah.
really think that's the direction we're
Suspension
kind of
fork, dropper bar. I mean, dropper
post.
post and drop bars.
The user guide for that Explorer 32 fork, the only mention of clearance
Explorer.
is a tire, and it's called the Explorer 32.
Oh, XPLR. That makes sense. I was like, God, that's a long acronym. I'm dumb as shit.
The only mention of clearance in the user manual is to make sure you have 8.5 millimeter clearance around your mud guard, between your mud guard and your tire, but there's no actual
There's no width.
of what that tire should be.
Well, they show a picture on the website that we were looking at. I'm on Bike Rumor, by the way. And it shows a 50 millimeter Maxxis Ranger in the fork
That's
crown.
tight.
Yeah, and it says
That's not the reverse, though. I'm talking about the new one with the reverse.
Well, this is
crown.
this is on the RockShox fork.
Oh,
But it
he's
says-
he's still on the
yeah, I got it.
But this says the 50 millimeter Maxxis Ravager, fits in the Rudy fork, but the included fender leaves no clearance at all. So
it's like, man, that's coming up short there at a
Yeah.
couple of very critical spots there,
But
as far as I'm concerned.
here's the other question, though. I mean, maybe we're thinking about it a little incorrect. Like, I want a bigger tire, too, but I'm also thinking about a rigid situation. If you're able to run a 50 with some suspension.
Maybe you don't need a 2.3.
Yeah, that's what.
No, I get it.
But I mean, that's a rule of 3 bike right there.
Okay, I think 2.3 on a gravel or drop bar bike is probably
Too much.
too much. Yeah.
I mean, I run a 2.6.
What?
Yeah, but
that's why I'm slow as shit.
I'm thinking along the lines of doing more single track with them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fine on my
but
225s.
We rode single track on
I know.
1.8s back in the day.
I know.
Jeez. Tell us what it was like, Paul.
When I was trying to remember what our tire of choice was back in the day, a couple episodes again,
Small block 8s is what I ran for a long time.
and Hutch Pythons.
Yeah, Pythons.
It was Hutchison I was trying to think of,
Yeah.
and evidently Hutchison might be coming back.
Yeah.
Which could be interesting.
Yeah. They already are back.
Well-
especially in the road bike realm.
They exist, but they're not back up stature-wise.
Yeah.
But that said, evidently, the Pirellis are actually made by Hutchison. So, and Pirellis are kind of the cool kid tires these days. So
Not Conti's? What are the pros in the Peloton running?
I don't know.
Probably Conti's.
It's not. It doesn't matter to 99.8% of us.
That's true.
But I mean, that's not what the marketing says, of course.
Yeah.
Now, you touched on rule of 3 a second ago, and I know you've been a proponent of thinking that that's the next direction events are going, maybe competition and things like that. I'm starting to see actually quite the opposite.
Really?
It looks like they're getting very wimpy with the definition of gravel going forward.
How so?
A lot more
Champagne.
champagne gravel, a lot more pavement in the mix, and less pushback when maybe there's a majority pavement and just a little bit of gravel. Definitely there's a lot of pointy end competitors that are embracing the concept of less gravel.
Is that trying to cast a wider net?
No, it's catering to who is coming into the sport, who's transitioning into gravel
that's
racing.
kind of what I meant.
That's
Like,
the-
kind of
yeah.
sort of the same thing. Philosophically, same thing.
Same.
Except I did my hands like this when I said it.
Oh,
I think there is something to that. I think people are knee jerking to what they're seeing. And when I say people and I say knee jerking, the big events that cost several $100s to enter, I think. Well, I mean, already several of those have bailed out for this year for various reasons, lack of sponsorship and so forth.
I think that's a short-term appealing.
I think they're shooting themselves in the foot going that direction myself.
I think that may be a trend for a little bit, but I think ultimately what we're going to see in the growth of events, especially in the quote-unquote spirit of gravel and slash adventure, we're going to start seeing a lot more multi-surface, a la rule of three kind of thing.
Well, yes and no. If the big events and the big money are the ones that are putting on the events, and they're not going that direction, if they're going the other direction, you may not see that, or you may see it at the local and the regional level, which never gets any publicity or exposure at all. You have to be one of those big events for the national press to talk about you or whatever else. And I get the whys and the wherefores of it, but it starts to paint the picture of, this is what
the pros are doing.
This is what the pros are doing. This is what a gravel event is supposed to look like. So if you see somebody throwing out there a true mixed surface thing that's throwing in some single track and some high water crossings and stuff like that, it's like, that's stupid. Why would I do that?
Because I like to have fun.
No, I get that. Trust me, I'm going to keep doing those types of events. And our stuff isn't going to be tamed down to, for lack of a better term, the all-road market. And I mean, the bike manufacturers are definitely trying to push that all-road concept right now. And it's like they've gone...
Well, Salsa's done it for years with the War Road.
With limited success.
Yeah.
And
I only know one person that had that bike, and he didn't have it long.
See, that's the thing.
Breg?
The Rev.
Breg had one, though.
No, did he?
So, I mean, we're going one way with the gravel bikes that, we're starting to get suspension, take bigger tires and things like that. And I still think that's the right direction to go for gravel and make the events tougher and throw spicier pieces in there and stuff like that. I'm all for that myself. But there are plenty of riders that don't have any mountain bike experience or anything like that have an absolute shit fit if you throw a quarter mile of single track in the mix, if they have to dismount and carry their bike across a mud puddle or something like that. Hey, understood. And I don't apologize for it. And anybody that wants to bitch at me for doing that at Red River Riot or Texas Chainring Massacre,
if you want to ride a gravel,
just plan for more of that.
If you want to grab, what is that?
Oh my God!
Hutchinson's Python 3 and Python Race live up to the hype.
Oh, what is the Python 3? Give me the rundown of what a Python 3 is. I'm assuming it's available in 29-inch.
Standing by.
Going real quick while he's looking that up. If you want a gravel race that doesn't have any pavement, you're going to have to go somewhere where there's no pavement. Yeah. It's impossible to put on at certain distances. No, it's inevitable that it's going to be, especially in this area.
There's going to be there's always going to be some pavement in the mix, but the events are starting to lean towards more gravel or more pavement than gravel. I'm sorry, they're starting to go that direction. I'm not saying that's where the crowds are going. I think that's where the promoters are trying to push it, or different promoters are trying to push things. I don't think that's going to be successful. I don't think that's going to fill the gap of we're still kind of caught up in that COVID bubble of there was this huge burst of newer riders that came in during the COVID years, and they were told gravel is what you're supposed to do. And many, many, many of those riders did it for a year and said, that's enough of that. I'm not coming back. And I think a lot of those promoters are wanting to get to those levels of people spending $200 or more for an entry fee and have 2,500 riders show up. And they think the way to accomplish that is to make the rides easier. I don't think that's going to do it, but
I think you get more gratification from doing stuff that's difficult, whether it be longer distances or more difficult tracks.
I do not disagree.
Hey, spoiled ass.
I do not disagree. So what'd you find out about those pythons?
Well, they come in skin walls. You'll be happy to know.
Shut the.
They're talking to you, Caleb.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with a good clean skin wall.
It says, where does the Python 3 fall in the Hutchinson mountain bike line? For those familiar with cross-country offerings from Hutchinson, the new Python race is for hard pack and dry race conditions, making it the fastest rolling tire in the quiver. Next is the skeleton.
Hold on, pause. Did they have a source and a site for that? Like a
They're just
not
doing
a
marketing.
website.
They're just doing marketing.
It's the same as Cane Creek saying they're the first gravel fork. So
Yeah,
calm down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying
We're sharing marketing speak at the moment.
No, and I'm in it and I hate it.
Next is the skeleton for hard pack, the Kraken for dry and slight downcountry vibes, and then the new Python 3. If we're going on tread alone, and they misspelt we're. It's just were. If we're
Okay,
going,
okay, all right.
that boggles my mind. There are many more tires they offer. You can check them out here. So, cross-country compound, the updated Python range employs an evolution of Hutchinson's long-standing RRXC compound. It's a sexy-looking tire. I mean, look at this. Look at the Python race. That's gravel all day right there.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So what are the size options here?
Standby.
Their sidewall compound looks a lot like the Rene Hearst
Man, they've got a litany of tires, brother.
litany.
I don't know what you were talking about. They're coming back. They've got all of them.
Again, Hutch has not been at the top of the want list for years.
That's fair. You're asking about the Python 3, what the widths available for that are? That's the profile of that tire.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that one.
Oh, you're interested in the one I showed you just a second. Okay, stand by.
The race or
the
whatever?
race. Okay, 127 TPI. I like that.
For the Tundra,
No,
40.
We're looking at the Python race.
Well, he's looking at the top.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Tundra. Tundras are, there's 5 variations, and they range from 40, 45, and 50.
all 700.
Sorry, you could see why
Yep,
this is a
all
little
700.
difficult for me to.
Yeah, this site's not designed very well.
29 by 2.4, but surely that's not the only
It may be.
size they offer.
It may be.
But this is all their specs.
wait a minute. Click on XC. What does it? Or is that what you're already on?
It's not clickable.
Are you looking on the Python race, B-Rad?
Yeah.
All right.
It looks like 2.4 is the only size, but I'm not sure.
That would make a good tributary tire.
Yeah, their website's not super awesome, or maybe it's just too smart for me.
So what? Okay, that's the different models there. So
Yeah,
what's
Python
the second
3, the Kraken, which is dry, hard pack, medium, down country.
Okay.
The Taipan XC, and the Toro XC. All these say down country.
Oh, okay.
So mountain bike. Let's look at their gravel tires. How about that? The Tundra looks like a good tire as well.
Yeah, it does. I like it.
That looks interesting.
Yeah, but it's
May have to get in on that.
Episode 58, brought to you by Hutchinson.
Tires.
see this has all their different widths right here: 40, 45, and 50 for the Tundra.
But we still don't know what the race size is. Just the 2.4 was the only thing they showed.
That's what it looked like. Yeah.
Well, no, okay, but 2.4. That's the current preferred XC racer
yeah,
size. 2.3, 2.4.
right.
So I guess that works.
And then yeah, this one comes in 47. It looks
So,
like
I'm
650
sorry,
by
so that
47
was
only.
And so the Python 3 is that super aggressive one. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Oh, wait.
That
It comes
doesn't make sense for a Python. Python used to be their XC racer tire, didn't it?
I thought so.
So
Is there not any U.S. dealers online? They're all French sites.
like I said, I think they're in comeback mode at the moment.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Maybe just stateside.
maybe.
Looks like they've
Does
been-
anywhere else really matter, Brad? Come on.
If you ain't in Texas, where the fuck you at?
Oh shit! These tires are in French dollars. I got excited for a minute. I thought it said $40. Stop! Let's buy a case.
All right, let's go off on a tangent.
Okay.
I think we've
Shift gears.
I think we've gotten dizzy with Hutch tires.
Yeah.
Plenty.
I don't have a week to spend on their website.
All right, let's go. Let's go back to these wimpy gravel events.
Okay.
And these wimpy gravel event riders and so forth.
I think it's going to be a flash in the pan. I think it's going to be a trend for 2 years until there's something else shiny comes along.
And this is where I'm going to recruit you two guys as much as you're willing to. I mean, I gave y'all a tickle a couple weeks ago that I was hoping you were okay with making Shiftless the title sponsor for the 2025 Texas Chainring Massacre, and you guys were okay with that. Still okay with that?
Why would I not be okay with that?
I'm just making. We're going to start changing things up for 2025.
Okay.
And I want y'all's feedback on how to start doing
I'm not transitioning, though.
2025 Texas Chainring Massacre. We're shifting the location a little bit.
Okay.
Interesting.
And here's the current plan. And y'all don't have to make any decisions on it right now. But I definitely want y'all's feedback and contributions to make this weekend as glorious as possible.
Okay.
Back in the day, up until 2017, when Lance showed up and kind of blew up the model, the way we did the Texas Chainring Massacre was we were the first gravel event.
Wait, Lance who?
Bass.
Some guy. Yeah, something.
He was
like
an NSYNC singer.
Oh, cute, but
we were the first gravel event that actually paid a purse. And it was a pretty sizable purse because the way we did it, if you were racing the feature race, we did 100% of those entry fees got paid out as the purse. So if you had 100 people at $40 signed up for that feature race, that's $4,000 of purse money.
that's good math.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I did
I'm
100.
impressed.
You math so hard.
Base 10 is where I like to stay.
Yeah.
So, but then Lance came, and that kind of blew up that model because, so we, the purse money could be paid for by the racers, and then our non-racers or the less competitive events would cover the costs for the putting on the event itself. So Texas Chainring Massacre was never a big money maker for us. It didn't, even though it's always been our biggest event each year. The way the math worked on it, a huge chunk of it was going to payout.
Yeah.
Which we were happy to do that. That kind of gave the event its personality. Then Lance came, and when everybody wanted to sign up for the premier race so they could say that they raced against Lance. So we actually lost money that year. So we had to turn around the model going forward. We still had really good payouts up until COVID. So I want to go back to that model of 100% payout. But what I also want to do...
So basically you're saying you're going to lean into what you're seeing the current market doing as far as race structure.
No, quite the opposite.
Okay.
But what I do want to do, I do recognize that this higher level of racing that's out there across the board on the gravel scene, I agree that it makes sense for those participants to maybe be in a different group than the everyday riders for various reasons. Safety for everybody is part of it.
Sure.
So what I'm going to do is make the Sunday event or put a Sunday race on. That's the feature event. That's for the highest level racers. That's the 100% payout. Saturday is the everyday riders. But here's the deal. If you're and the Sunday race, $100 entry fee, but every bit of it goes into purse.
Right.
That none of that is ministry money, none of that is shiftless money or anything like that. That's all just for the purse. Other ways we're going to increase the purse as well. So if we get 100 people at $100, that's what, $10,000 a purse? Is that right?
Yeah.
So that's the simple math on it there. But here's where I want to take things differently. While I do recognize the higher level racers need a more
groomed,
a more confined group to ride in, that defined group that's comparable skill levels. I think that makes sense across the board. I do disagree where a lot of those higher end racers are going that are poo-pooing the spirit of gravel and the roots of gravel and wanting to make the easier events and things like that, wanting shorter races.
Yeah.
That's another part of it. People are wanting the 60 and 50 and 40 mile races versus 100, 150 and 200 mile races.
Yeah.
Fuck that. So what we're so our A race is going to be 120 miles, 125 miles, somewhere like that. Our Saturday medium level race is going to be 80 miles.
Perfect.
Here's what the A racers have to do. They have to ride on Saturday in the 80 miler with everybody else, but they're not competing. So they're hanging out with all of the everyday riders.
In order to
qualify, you have to do a 200-mile weekend is what you have to do.
Interesting.
So that's my...
So
that's the big picture.
They have to go out and ride that Saturday ride, and then they have to race the next day.
Yep. So,
what do you think the reception for that's going to be like, though?
Only one way to find out.
That's true.
I like your willingness to experiment.
Yeah. Reminds me of college.
I think $10,000 or $20,000 a purse makes a difference in
yeah,
the,
but you
the
have
reception.
to get that many entrants.
You don't think I can get 100 people to sign up?
I'm not saying that. I didn't say that.
No,
I'm just wondering what the likelihood. How many people do you think are going to do that? Ride 80 on Saturday.
Well,
and then
quite
race
frankly, it's
120 on Sunday.
How many people do unbound gravel 200 miles in a day?
That's true. I'm just
okay. Let's.
I'm not trying to.
I have a couple questions.
No. You're asking, and that's how I answered in my own head.
Fundamentally, I like it. It's a risk, but that's.
Oh, there's no risk.
So is any kind of experimenting and tweaking with this stuff. But okay, let's talk about what's the. Are you going to have a place for people to camp? Let's talk about logistics.
All of that's to be determined.
Okay.
And that's part of why we're shifting locations. There will be hotels and restaurants readily available.
Are you willing to discuss where the location is going to be?
We'll be doing Gainesville proper as opposed to Valley View.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
A real town.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I love Valley View. We're not running. Well, so basically what I'm thinking about doing is shifting the Holiday Ramble to Valley View and still doing our Whiskey Hollow thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of have a goal of getting to 1,000 people with this one, just to see if I can do it for shits and giggles. Not 1,000 of the premier racers by any stretch of the imagination.
But total entrance.
Total for the weekend, 1,000 people. We've done 750, 800 before.
Yeah.
The Texas Chainring Massacre was actually the last big event in the gravel scene prior to COVID.
Yeah.
And that was our biggest. We were like this, and then COVID.
Yeah.
I'm not crying.
Yeah.
Everybody went through shit there, but
Yeah.
it's like, man, that turned upside down quickly.
Yeah. So just asking questions, and I know you haven't fleeced all this out, but like if I have no ambition of being in the hunt for the purse, do I pay a different price for riding Saturday and Sunday versus just riding Saturday?
Sunday is an invitational only.
Oh, okay.
It's invitational and qualify only. So actually, you bring up a good point.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing an invitational. Priorities for that to be determined. We have an application process in place right now that people that are interested can submit an application. Obviously, people that have done well with Spinistry events this year are going to get invited. And if somebody's invited and they accept, then they're allowed to invite whoever they think would get a kick out of this as well.
I got something.
Go for it.
What if you leave the top 10 spots on the Saturday ride can move to Sunday?
Or
make a competition of that to get in.
What if the 80-mile Saturday is a qualifier for the Sunday?
That's what I'm saying.
That's what he said.
Now, I understand that's already and I was getting there.
Now,
cast a wider net.
I'm trying to, other than the fact of you have to do it in order to do it, now there's a reason to go out and ride. And I think now the tables have turned. I like this. I like this idea.
So... And that's part. I want you guys to help me with that. I think it's a wider net than the top 10. I think based on a cutoff time, you qualify for the next day. But
think of
the theory of that. I'm going to have to go, like, not me personally, but like, let's say I'm not fast enough to get the invitation, which technically I am. But I go out and I really humble brag. No, technically I'm not fast enough. So
okay. There we go.
I'm humbly not fast enough to get that invitation. But let's say I can go out and I can average 18, 19 miles an hour, which is just shy of that invite.
Yeah.
Or I just have a great day and I kick myself in the ass and I go out there and I qualify. I've burnt every match that I've got to get into that, and I got to go do it again the next day for an additional 60 miles, 40 miles. Holy
40.
Shit, that's badass.
But you're able to say, I did that. I qualified for that.
I don't have the ability to do that. I would not be able to finish in the top 10 on Saturday, but I love the idea about it existing, and I think that
Yeah.
is a very unique take. And I say that right there is the go for it.
It's sexy.
Yeah. So and that's what I want y'all. And we don't have to figure it out now, but is it a certain percentage of the field qualifies? Is it a cutoff time that qualifies? Is it X number of slots? We'll figure that all out.
I like the time.
I like time cutoff myself.
Yeah,
That's
like,
what I'm leaning towards.
80 miles, call it, I don't know, 6.5 hours, 6 hours.
Whatever the math
5 hours,
works
whatever.
out to. So as far as the entry fee goes, so our Saturday events have the traditional Spinistry gravel grind, like $50 or less entry fees for those, but free for Club Spinistry members. Anybody that qualifies for the Sunday race does have to pony up the $100 because you have to contribute to the pot.
Right.
And nobody gets a freebie for Sunday. I don't care if the highest level pro shows up and, hey, I want to do your race, but I expect a comped entry. No,
Yeah.
Nobody gets a comped entry.
Lance paid.
He did. I've been approached by people in the past that wanted comped entries for what they think is strong marketing purposes. It's like, well, if you want a comped entry, then then you don't qualify for a purse. But hey, if you want to be able to say that you podiumed and you don't get, no, I want the purse. Well, then put in your entry fee.
Yeah.
I mean,
You got to pay to play.
basically.
Yeah.
You got to have skin in the game. But for those, and we're calling that one the Privateer Invitational. It is being built to kind of accommodate that privateer gravel racer group that's out there now. But also,
Looking at you, Austin Whittington.
well, no, actually, yeah, Austin. I have Austin definitely in mind along those lines because we want to make it worth their while to show up and participate. But we're also going to, some privateers are maybe stronger on the influencer side than they are on the racing side. Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Hey, if you can point more people to sign up for the event and help us to get to the 1,000, we'll do a revenue share on that for the privateers. We got some sponsorship revenue share ideas in mind and so forth, but that stuff will flesh out over the coming months. Big picture, game plan, general. Are you guys on board with that concept?
Dude, I love everything you've said so far. It took me a minute to wrap my head around it, but I like it. I'm interested to see it unfold.
I think the idea of a 200-mile weekend is very complementary to the spirit of gravel from the traditional.
Well, and it goes along with the name. Like if you want to massacre, race 2 days in a row.
Yeah. I think you need to have a DFL prize.
I have issues. I have issues with that
Because Rajkani's a lock. But, I mean, you have to ride both days, and whoever is DFL on Sunday, they get maybe a tenth of the purse.
So,
or they get their entrance
No, because then you're going to
back.
have people riding slow to get it.
Yeah, so there's other events out there that do those sorts of awards, and it's turned into people are
I'm not a fan
sandbagging and
of them.
competing to win that award. I'm not casting shade at any events or any recent finishers or anything.
No, that's fair.
Like
That's fair.
And
I'm just thinking about somebody.
let me put you this way: we did that in the early days of Spinistry, and even back then,
It was torture for you.
no, there were people that were stopping to make sure they got the last place.
Mike Frazier.
I'm not naming names.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking about, and that was my knee-jerk response to what I was thinking, is if I'm a guy that goes out and rides 80 and happens to get extended an invitation to ride on Sunday, but I have zero confidence that I'm going to be in the top 10, or the pay positions.
So,
what's my incentive to do the 120?
All right. So here's my rough concept along those lines.
Mm-hmm. And I get we're
spitballing,
this.
and I hope you guys know me well enough that if I say something stupid that you want to shoot down, you're not going to hurt my feelings by shooting it down.
I gave up caring about your feelings a long time ago.
That's what I'm counting on. My super rough concept, I still need to work the math on this, but let's say we have that $10,000 purse.
Mm-hmm.
5,000 of that goes to the podium winners, and the other 5,000 gets distributed amongst everyone that finishes the whole thing that weekend.
Oh.
And whether that is everybody gets an equal share or it scales down based on your finishing position, I haven't roughed that out yet, but the math would work on that.
Yeah.
So, if you finish, and again, I think we can all agree that if you have 100 people start, not 100 people are going to finish.
No, the attrition's going to be
Let's say
30%, 40%.
So let's say if anybody's got a calculator handy, what's $5,000 divided by, let's say, 65 people stop or finish?
It's like $83.
$77.
Okay, that almost covers your entry fee right there.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's
I like that.
that's the rough idea.
Okay.
And then you throw in the referral bonuses for, if you're a good social media influencer and get other people to sign up. If you're good at hawking sponsorships and get some sponsors on board, the idea is to half of the sponsorship money goes to the pool for the finishers as well.
Yeah.
Rough. Again, those are all rough ideas right now.
I like it. Man, I got no more questions. I think it sounds good to me.
Caleb's hand is up.
Pausing for the possibility of editing this out or cutting this out. I did notice you posted something on Facebook about the shiftless chuckleheads making an appearance at. Was that Chainring Massacre? Are we wanting to do a live?
Well, what I basically said is this is what happens when the shiftless chuckleheads get involved with the Texas Chainring Massacre.
Oh, okay, got it.
And then
got it. Yeah.
I
okay,
did
edit that out then.
my teaser promotion of the weekend of the Privateer Invitational in Texas, but without any level of detail of what I had in mind.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
wanted to run it by you guys first.
You can edit my question out. I think that people are always looking for something new and unique, a la Rule of Three, a la Belgian Waffle Ride, a la Granduro, especially Granduro because it's a segmented time-based
But
gravel.
that's an example of one that went away this year.
Is it really?
Yeah.
They're not doing it?
Not the U.S. version anyway.
Okay. So I think that I love the fact that you experiment and play around with this, and if it works, it's great, and if not, okay, we tried it and move on. But I think this is really cool, so I say go for it.
Yeah, I love the fact that, like he said, I mean, you're just going to do it. You're not worried about what everybody else is doing necessarily.
Yep.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Well, I definitely am truly looking for y'all's feedbacks and contributions and input on. I don't have any expectation of any backbreaking labor involved in this, but
Yeah.
if you're drinking beer and get an inspirational thought or something stupid pops up on my end, no, don't do it that way. Let me know.
Yeah.
If this is starting in Gainesville, will you be going to Munster and possibly having some single track involved?
Most likely not.
Okay.
Most likely not.
Okay.
It is something that's under consideration, but probably not.
I think this spawns from last year's Spinistry Palooza in the Terlingo area where I guess it was that first or maybe it was this second refuel stop we had with you where you out of nowhere sprung a segment race. And I really, and I'm not a racer guy, but that was fun.
That was
and
cool.
I would love the possibility of that, something like that on a longer-ish
I like
mountain
that.
bike ride. A gravel race.
I like that. We're going to have to play with that.
Yeah.
Caleb already dealing some contribution.
Ooh,
Yeah.
wheeling and dealing.
All
You
right.
can make the checks out to my last name is one I and one S at the end.
Anything else that we need to be sure to cover today?
What was in your notes, Caleb?
I was typing down the shit that Kevin texted to us just so I would could remember. And then I'll post all the links and stuff to Sean's shit.
Food for thought is AI and art design, the e-bike creativity. Good.
My cranks come in tomorrow, so turns out.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I need some illumination on this.
Oh, yeah, let's back up.
Yeah,
because
let's
we
back
didn't
up.
get to cover all this
Yeah.
because you weren't present.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, so did you, okay, quick recap
Yep.
for those just joining in. Before we get to episode 4, season 12,
We have to break this up.
yeah. So last week we did a Tuesday night wrench night because it was actively raining and had been raining, and the premise was
we did go over this.
we did, but Caleb wasn't here to throw hands, and I didn't want to throw him under the bus.
What the fuck did I do wrong? I did what everyone else told me to do.
That was kind of what we were talking about.
That's what we were talking about.
Okay.
Like, despite all your best efforts in contacting all the correct people,
Yeah.
the two areas...
It's still a clusterfuck to put this bike together.
Yeah,
yes.
The two
I feel
areas...
promised about what's about to happen tomorrow.
But the two areas of concern were exactly what bit us in the ass.
Yes.
So those areas were proper interface between your brakes and your fork,
Yes.
and then bottom bracket and crank issues.
Yep.
And both of those things bit us in the ass.
Yes.
And it wasn't because you just fucking half-ass ordered stuff.
No.
You spent way more time than I would have researching all that
Oh, well,
stuff.
I mean, there was an element of education that I wanted to put myself through.
Sure.
The brake rotor's not going to be an issue. Throw a
Right.
180 on it, done.
But still, that mount that you had doesn't interface with your fork.
It does.
No, we tried it like 4 times. Remember, the bolt holes don't line up.
Oh, right. You put the adapter on there, and you just upsize to the 180 rotor.
I think we're talking about 2 different things now. But crank, where are you going with the crank?
So, turns out the GRX, as I'm sure he told you, the GRX spindle is not long enough. So, I'm sorry, but not like anyone from Salsa's listening, but you guys fucked me on that because they literally told me in 2 emails, because I made them confirm. I even said, just want to confirm, type this out again. The spindle is not long enough.
Episode 58, not brought to you by
Salsa. I love you, but I hate you right now, Salsa. So I ordered GRX. I'm sorry, I ordered XTR cranks.
Yeah.
By the way, if anyone wants a 40-tooth GRX, brand new, never been ridden, I can get you a good deal on one. And I'm going to put there is no 36-tooth XTR or XT chainring available anywhere, so I'm going with a...
Wolf tooth.
I'm going to go with Absolute Black.
Okay.
And that should be in today or tomorrow.
Okay.
Can't argue with that.
So what is the spindle on the XTR? It's a 73 mil, right?
It's a 20 length?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was getting at, is that's where everything gets really fuzzy in this crossover area that we're talking about, like with the Ouroboros or whatever, is you're with the Cutthroat, now you're dealing with what we call a drop bar mountain bike. It looks like a road bike-ish, but it accommodates larger tires. And where that really gets translated, not only are you running a hybridized drivetrain in the earlier days where you're running drifters and a mountain bike derailleur, mountain bike cassette, you're also running a mountain bike bottom bracket, which means that width, that spindle length has to be longer. So I don't know why there was any confusion on Salsa's part telling you could run a gravel/road crank where you clearly need to run a mountain bike crank.
Especially when, so the Cutthroat has gone through a couple of evolutions and updates, primarily around...
But they're still running a mountain bike bottom bracket.
They are,
crank.
but like the brake mounting areas have improved to where they're a little more modernized.
Yeah.
That's kind of one of the reasons, that is the reason why I wanted them to confirm after confirming, because every GRX build on their website for a Cutthroat
has a mountain bike crank.
Unless it's for some reason you can put a GRX 2x of all their GRX builds on the Cutthroat. If it's a single chainring, it's a race face crank. If it's the 2x, it's a GRX.
That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't, but I can show you on the internet.
I believe you, but just with my limited knowledge of GRX, it doesn't make any sense to me. Either way.
But that's okay. Like, the bike is kind of a Frankenstein, and I get it, and that's what makes it great as well. So,
Well, and that's what happens. Like, what year is that bike?
18.
So, I think drivetrains were muddled together to appease that kind of niche area. Now I think a lot of people are head that direction, and the crossover is a lot better and it's a lot more intuitive to run a drifter setup with a mountain bike. It's not as, you don't have to hodgepodge it together like you did back then, because even your bike came spec'd with what rear derailleur was on there?
Rival. Everything was Rival.
Oh, so it's not
Everything.
it wasn't even a mountain bike.
No,
but
this was before they had any of that.
Yeah, because you're not running a big ass cassette and all that stuff. Yeah.
No, it had a road cassette on it.
Yeah.
That therein lies the main issue. That was the biggest deciding. Well, no, take it back. it was the brakes. Those brakes were a bag of turds.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, so
From the get go.
yeah, so I'm gonna get that crank in. I'm gonna get that chainring in. I'm gonna throw that on there.
Yeah.
And we'll go from there.
Yeah. Okay.
Hopefully, you're scaring me now with the brake mount thing. I thought that we ended up getting it to fit. It just did not. It's on there now. It's on there. We got it on there. It was too far. That adapter was a 5 mil or maybe a 10 mil spacing adapter.
Yeah.
They pushed it back 10 mils, I think, and we need to put a 180 rotor on it.
Oh, yeah, you are right. What did we do? Either way,
We got it to fit.
Yeah, we did get it
Well,
to fit, but your rotor was too small.
That's the problem. We
Yeah.
didn't like it because the rotor was too small. So
Yeah.
anyway, I'll be selling.
You want a
it.
180 anyway.
You don't need a 180 on that bike.
Yeah,
Oh.
you do.
Well, I do now. I mean, I don't have
Yeah.
a choice.
Yeah.
But no, I'm saying that's what you want anyway.
I'm okay with that. I wouldn't mind having 180s on both, just because when we're doing big ascents
Yeah.
and you've got a 55-pound bike,
you don't need
and
a
you
180. You don't need a 180 in the rear though.
No, I don't.
160 in the rear is plenty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way it's going to be. So
Yeah.
But other than that, I can't wait to throw that red shift handlebar on it when we get at the end. It's going to look
It's gonna
gonna
look
look beautiful.
sick.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm excited to finally get that thing fully built and let you go out and start tearing it up.
Yeah.
We will need pictures. No
Yeah.
ifs, ands, or buts about
Yeah.
it.
Looks nice so
Yeah.
far.
Did you pull the trigger on any of your?
Oh, I hadn't done shit.
Okay.
I need to get with Gabe, but like as soon as we wrap this podcast, I got to go shop and prep, and I got to mow the yard. I mean, it just
Well, it sounds like you need to get to work, dude.
yeah. I want to ride my bike though.